This video covers how to find a new equation when given the composition of functions. So in a previous video, I showed how to find a value, plugging in a value to a composition of functions. And now this is going to be just finding the new equation. So you need to know that f of g of x in these parentheses is the same thing as if you see it written like this. And then also in reverse. And so whatever is on the inside gets plugged in to the other function. So let's just hop right into an example. When I have f of x is equal to 2x minus 1 and g of x is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 7, and I want to find f of g of x, it means take g of x's equation and plug it in to x for f of x. So I'm plugging in that equation into f of x because this is the inner function and f of x is the outer function. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite it as 2 parentheses, and I'm going to put all of g of x's right side of the equation in for x. So I took what g of x was equal to and I plugged it in place of x. And now I'm just going to distribute and simplify. So 2 times negative 1/2 x, half of 2 is 1, and it would be negative x because negative 1x, because 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. And then 2 times the 7 is going to give me a 14, and I drop down my minus 1. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, and I have negative x plus 13. And lastly, I'm going to include my function notation in my answer. Example 2. I have f of g of x again, but this time it's written with the little, what my students like to say, fog. What I do when I'm given a problem like this, I typically rewrite it as f of g of x, like with the g of x on the inside, because to me that makes it more clear. So I'm going to take what g of x is, and I'm going to plug it in for x in the other equation. And so I'm going to have 4x squared plus 5. So we typically take whatever the inside function was, this case g of x, plug it in inside parentheses. So since g of x was on the inside, I plugged it in for x. Now I'm going to simplify. When I have 4x squared using exponent rules here, I have to raise 4 to the second power and the x. These both technically have an exponent of 1 right now. And so they would multiply that too. So this is really 4 squared x squared plus 5, which is really 16x squared plus 5. And then again, I'm going to write that fancy notation in my answer. All right, this really can be taken up a notch when your inner function is being squared and it's a binomial. So for this problem, I am going to rewrite it as g of f of x. Again, I like to put it in this notation because it's more clear. This second letter is what goes on the inside. That's your inner function. So this is my inner function this time. That is f of x, and I'm plugging it in for x. So I'm going to be doing x plus 2 in parentheses squared minus 1. The most common student error is students love to just try to distribute that 2, and you cannot do that. That is not allowed. When you square a binomial, you have to multiply it by itself by writing it out twice, and then you need to distribute, or as some teachers call this, FOIL. X times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 2 is 4. Drop down your minus 1, combine your like terms. So I have x squared plus 4x and then plus 3. And again, I'm going to write it with the original notation, even if I don't like that notation.